trained now. It's like, okay, you're on. I know I can't remember. I can't remember.
Good afternoon. Let me welcome you and call to order our Board of Managers meeting for Thursday, October 13th, 2016 at 1:06 p.m. At this time, we'd like to ask our chaplain, Mr. Dan Baker, to come and offer prayer for us, please.
Let us pray. Dear Lord, we thank you for the nice weather we're having. It just kind of refreshes us when a wind blows calmly and we can just enjoy some relaxation and freshness. But Lord, I've looked around even our city today and saw some people lying out on the street, homeless. I saw others that were sick and needy. Saw some people that were injured, some families that are concerned and upset. So would you help us to bring some refreshing to their lives in any way that we can, through health care, through concern, through just a kind word, a smile. Let us reach out and make a difference to those we've been called to serve. And we ask this in your name. Amen.
We'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do we have any citizens wishing to address the board? If you'll come forward. Let me say to you that for all those who address the board, there's a 3-minute time limit. We ask that you not address any board member personally, and just state your comments, and then someone will get in contact with you afterwards in reference to your concerns. We don't address them here at the board meeting.
Yes, sir.
Feel free.
All right. Good evening, board members. I came today to speak to you guys about a situation that has happened as a former employee here at JPS. Back in 2010, I resigned to go work for Bank of America. In the meantime, I was employed from 2007 to 2010, and I had a manager who decided to corrupt my floor and make me one of the target individuals. And I reached out to HR, and HR never did anything, and so I had to take initial steps to get an investigation started. And when the investigation was started and complete, I got the resolution that this individual has been terminated or was terminated before I left. I come here to ask to see if you guys will look into my situation, because there's a lot of things that's in my file, even with me being advised that I'm being blocked from being employed back here within the network. And at this point, I think that I'm being discriminated against and retaliated against because I came forward of the harassment and the humiliation. And I don't want to take too much of your time, but I'm just coming before the board because I have gone through this change of command to try to reach out to get the help that I feel that I needed in order to move forward with my situation. And unfortunately, I haven't been successful. And that's pretty much, if you guys can reach out to me and look into the details of what has happened, because there's a lot of things that's in my employee file that does not describe my character or my demeanor. And with me being employed 3.5 years, definitely speaks volumes for itself. Nevertheless, with me going to work for the second largest bank in America and haven't done any of those things that I have been allegedly accused of, someone who was terminated by the network. So I'm begging the board to please reach out to me to look into my situation, because it's deeper than 3 minutes that I have to share up here on the floor with you guys. So please. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next on our agenda is approval of our September 8th minutes. Entertain a motion for approval.
Move approval.
I'll second.
Been moved by Ms. DeBose, second by Mr. Fisher, for our approval of our September 8th board meeting minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Before we go any farther, hi Chuck, how are you?
Okay, sir.
Oh, good, okay. Next, the board chair report. I only have one item, and that is to appoint our nominating committee for officers for the coming year. And I'd like to ask Mr. Trent Petty, Mr. Steve Montgomery, and Ms. Dorothy DeBose, if you would serve as that nominating committee. Okay? And I'm going to be ex officio. Okay. Thank you. Next, we have our CEO report, Mr. Early.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. A couple things. We got a lot of things going on in the next month or so. I did want to give you an update that we have our 2016 Quality Fair. Many of y'all have seen our Quality Fair in the past. That's our team members from across the network sharing success stories about projects we've done here that enhance quality at JPS. If you have not attended one of our Quality Affairs, you're missing out, because it does give you a lot of insights into the projects. People that present their projects are swelling with pride and excitement about what good things we're doing from a quality standpoint, and we've learned a lot from those ourselves. So that's going to be on October 17th. Tammy will send out one more notice to y'all just to give you an update on when and where that function takes place, but that's a nice activity. Wanted to also let y'all know that on the 19th of October, we're going to have a visit from our friends from El Paso. El Paso has a new CEO of their public hospital, and so their new CEO and about 12 community leaders, including their county judge, county commissioners, members of the district attorney's office, and others, are going to come to JPS because they've heard that we do some things right, and they want to see what we're doing and how we're doing it. I had given some of the folks from El Paso a tour when they were in town on another function, and they appreciated their time and said, now we'd like some of our community leaders to come over to JPS and see and witness how you do things. So I'm really happy for that. You all are well aware of our Make Lives Better Foundation Breakfast, which is on November the 1st. You all will be getting more and more about that, including personal visits from all the foundation staff to your individual homes, telling you when, where, and how to get there. We will be driving each one of you to the function, and we will go forward with that. So there's no room to hide on any of that. When I go off script, Scott Rule just shakes his head. I always enjoy that. So just want to give you an idea of that wonderful function that we'll have. We also are going to have on the 27th, which seems to be the day of everything. Everybody scheduled everything for the 27th. I know the chair was frustrated because all the meetings that we had, none of them were our own choice of time. But Mr. Powell has an award he's going to receive for his philanthropic role in the community, he and his son, which is the first father-son duo on philanthropic giving, which is nice, which we would all want to support him in his award luncheon. We also, at the same time, have the Dallas Morning News Best Places to Work luncheon that JPS is a recipient of, and we will be attempting to go to Dallas and go to Charlie's function and try to have meetings here, and any other meetings that y'all have, please put on that day as well, because we want to make it challenging.
I'd like to say, I think the trip to Dallas, I'm normally not want to send people to Dallas, but that is on behalf of JPS, and I would highly recommend, I appreciate the nice words from my son and I, but again, I would certainly say on behalf of JPS, go win our recognition for us in Dallas County.
One of the things I wanted to tell you to show you the power of Nikki Sumter, she had your function moved to the Omni in Dallas. It's the same place we're having ours. So your Fort Worth Award is now in Dallas, and I think it'll be great.
I appreciate the nice words, but let's go receive, be the recipients of what this institution deserves. Go to Dallas route.
Many of you probably, thank you, Mr. Powell, many of you probably heard on KERA and on CBS 11 our Stop the Bleed program. My thanks to our communications department that worked really hard to that. My thanks to Amanda Stallings and the folks in the foundation. And my thanks to the trauma outreach program, Marianne Contreras and our trauma team that talked about ways that we all can save lives and helping people when they're in a blood loss situation, and how many lives can be saved if you just realize how to do a tourniquet and how to stop the bleed. And we got a lot of recognition out of our program, and really proud of it. And I got a good many phone calls from folks, including Commissioner Brooks, who was driving in the car and picked up his phone and said, wow, this is really fantastic to hear this great program JPS is doing. So I'm proud of our foundation, our communications, and our trauma team. That's a group of people all coming together.
Is that something that's still going on?
It is.
Is it something that we can
Yes,
participate in?
yes, it is. In fact, from a board standpoint, many of y'all have asked, how do we stop the bleed? And so this will be a great opportunity to figure out how we can stop the bleed at all times. Thank you, Mr. Lewis. So we can go from there, but there are a lot of good things happening. I didn't want to give you all too much, but wanted to tell you that we have so many great opportunities and suggestions, and we will continue to put more and more on the portal. We continue to encourage y'all to look at the portal. We just got back, both Tammy and Scott got back from a conference on the best use of board effects and how we can better use our portal for y'all to make it easier for y'all, easier for us. We found some really good insights into how to make that an even better board portal for y'all, so that we can utilize it more. To the employees at JPS, a lot of this is going to be on some of our new things that we have on our website and our intranet in communicating things to folks. So I'm really proud of the team and all that we're doing. At this time, oh, I'm sorry, I did say that wrong. It's November 17th, not the 27th. I did misspeak. Yes, Quality Fair is the 17th, not the 27th. That's just because I have challenge reading.
And that's the same day as Charlie's function in November 17th. Am I right, Charlie?
Yeah, I think Charlie's just gonna go home, forget about that fun.
Yeah, everything is on that day.
I think it is, I think you're exactly right.
Yeah,
It
exactly.
is November,
Yeah,
correct. Thank you.
that was just my mistake. I'm glad it kind of jogged my brain a bit. You all know that we have a very strong and good working relationship with our Commissioners Court and the staff at the court, the elected officials, our commissioners, our judge. And in that same vein of a cooperative spirit and where we're going, you know that the county has brought in a consultant, and they are a leading healthcare consultant, to ask some of those wonderful questions of where is JPS currently, which we stand in a good place to look at the work we did for the past 6.5 years of calculating data and information, both statistical and even some anecdotal about where JPS wants to go and what we're doing. We've asked Mr. Manius if he would come here and give us periodic updates on the firm that's looking at some of the data and give you an idea of where that project is going so that you all are constantly informed. We will also reach out in greater detail to the Planning Committee and give insights to the Planning Committee. Mr. Petty, you've expressed that, and I think that's the perfect venue. So we're going to look at this pretty much in 3 levels. We'll have Mr. Manius here talking and giving updates. We will go before the Planning Committee with another level and another layer, and then you, Mr. Chair, will obviously get briefed on the situations and where we go and where we're going with that. So that just kind of gives you a perspective.
Before GK makes his presentation, can I trickle back on one item?
You bet.
I just want to say to the board members, if you have not had the opportunity to attend JPS's Quality Fair, I want to just emphasize that it is a plus to see the skills and talent of our employees and what they come up with to improve quality at the hospital. And I just would implore all of you just to come and at least take a quick tour, because the posters are all over the place. They're really exciting when I had a chance to see that, so. Yeah. That's right, you and I both were here that day.
Yeah. And I appreciate that, Chair. It's really good. We even had Dr. Johnson in a tuxedo one year presenting his quality measure, which he related to a casino night. So it's really good. And the innovative ways at which they transpose really difficult information to individuals who are not in the business every day is excellent. So thank you very much. Mr. Manius, we appreciate you being here and appreciate the work that you're doing on behalf of getting the message and knowledge about JPS out, and also all that you're doing with the community and with the consulting group.
So before I start, I just have a question. Do you all make Dr. Johnson wear a tuxedo very often?
When we can convince him to get in one for causes, he'll do it.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, thank you for letting me come before you today, and good afternoon. What I'd like to do is just kind of bring you up to date as to where we are on this process. Yes, sir.
Can you hear GK? You might need a little bit more volume. Okay, thank you.
I'm guessing that's the first time you've heard that?
That's unique. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I've just never been in a meeting where they said, give GK more volume.
Yeah, I was going to say, it doesn't work that way where I work. So. Anyway, let me say this. First of all, the firm that the Commissioners Court engaged, HMA, they're really a good firm. And I'm impressed every day that I work with them now, and it's almost every day that I'm working with them. And I know that our team, which includes members of your team, all have been very impressed with what they've been doing and how they're guiding the process. So, and I spoke with members of the Commissioners Court about that, and I know that they have been interviewed by HMA, and I know that the vast majority of you have been interviewed by HMA. And what I'm saying about the quality of their work is something that I'm hearing also from my court members. So I think it's going really pretty well. If there's anybody on the board who has not yet been interviewed by HMA, if you'll make an effort to, we'll have them reach out to you all. I think they're really seeking your input on this, so if we could make just a little time for that, that would be great. We're moving ahead on this thing. We're at a point now where that we're meeting on a weekly basis, your staff and our staff and HMA. They have completed a portion of their work in that they've interviewed the two different boards. They've interviewed many members of the community. And they have also started doing a tremendous amount of research as far as futuristic healthcare delivery. They're also looking at the demographics of the county as a whole. And I know that they're just beginning those efforts, but quite frankly, what I've seen so far, I think that the final work product is going to be a good work product. As you know, when we went into this process, there were really several different RFPs that we're putting together. And the first one obviously was the futuristic view. The second RFP is in its final stage now. And we had asked the Commissioners Court last Tuesday, a week ago, to authorize us to go out and put this thing out on the street. We're taking the final document to the court next Tuesday for their final review and approval. And so this RFP is one that's going to deal with looking at current and future facilities, equipment, and locations of delivery methods. In other words, one of the questions that I think that everybody wants to know is not just what type of services we are going to provide, but where we should provide those services from. And so we're very interested in that, and hopefully we'll have the same response as we had in the previous RFP for the respondents. That means that they're going to have to interface with some of the elements that are developed by HMA. HMA is not going to bid on the second RFP. In fact, we're engaging HMA so that they will work with the second vendor also. They're going to be, obviously they've been interfacing with the JPS team already. They'll continue to do that. We want to make sure that they take a good hard look at all the work that you as a board and you and your staff have done already on facilities. There's no reason to reinvent the wheel, quite frankly. And so, as I said, we're going to the court on the 18th on that RFP. I've already asked the court on the Blue Ribbon Committee to come up with its membership around the 25th of this month. The court's well on its way of doing that. I know that this board has already chosen your two liaison representatives. Robert, if I could ask you to send me some type of documentation that tells me who those two are. And it's just a formality, but I'd like to get that
You bet.
whenever it's available.
You bet.
Scott and Mary Ann are doing representing you and your team very well. And I really believe, quite frankly, I'm not just saying this, there's a real partnership with JPS and the county on this thing. This is an area that we're all working toward the same goal, the same benefit. And I've been very pleased, and I know the court's been very pleased, and you should be very pleased at what your staff has been doing as it relates to these activities. With that, Mr. Chairman, I'll be more than happy to answer any questions or attempt to answer any questions.
Anybody have any questions of GK? I would just say to you, GK, in my experiences during the interview, you could tell that they had the experience in doing what they're doing. It's not like you had to educate them first.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's a really good experience.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you, GK.
Thank you for putting me first on the agenda. That's a side comment.
Item 7 on our agenda is report from medical staff. Dr. Ziegler?
Yes, the MedExec approved 2 interim chairmans. They were proposed and approved by their department. They were interviewed by Mr. Early and approved by the MedExec 2 days ago. First one is Dr. Kelly Flood Schaefer. She attended undergrad at Notre Dame University in Indiana, did her medical education at Lubbock, did her graduate education at UT Galveston. She was on staff at Lubbock for several years. Then from 2009 to 2015, she was at the University of Cincinnati, has been here for over a year, and her department put her name forth as their interim chairman. The second one is Dr. Suhir Bolar. Dr. Bolar hails originally from India. He did his training at Hahnemann University in Philadelphia. He was in practice at Newport, Rhode Island. He's been here at John Peter Smith since 2009, and his department also proposed him to be their interim chairman.
Okay. Can we do them separate? Okay. I entertain a motion to approve the interim chair for obstetrics and gynecology.
So moved.
Been moved by Charlie Powell, second by Chuck Weber. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposers? Next item is approval of anesthesiology interim department chair. Moved by Steve Montgomery, second by Dr. Heyer. All approved? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposers? Same sign.
Yes, Dr. Flood Schaefer is
Yeah,
here.
there she is.
Yes, she is. Yeah, just-
I've been looking all over. Oh my God.
I don't believe, Dr. Bowler I don't believe is here. I didn't see him. I don't believe. But Dr. Flood Schaefer is here, so thank you very much.
And welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
New interim chair.
Dr. Zealy, anything else?
That's all I had.
Okay.
They may have told you that you're required to stay for the rest of the meeting, but that's a joke. You're not. You can actually go back and serve patients if you want to.
Next item on our agenda, Dr. Chuck Weber demanded I put this on the agenda. We have the department update, and it's a comprehensive stroke certification, and our own Trudy Sanders will make that presentation.
Mr. Chairman and Dr. Weber in particular, because a lot of this comes through quality, you have an incredible group of people. They'll introduce themselves when they come up here, but Dr. Huggins, Dr. Cravens, Dr. Sneederjohn are in the audience as well, and they are, sort of takes a village to make this happen. And we had gone through a couple renditions of their presentation. And what was interesting about their presentation when they first gave it is you won't find more humble people than this. And what we did was we went back and said, can we talk about how this is so powerful to JPS? And they see it as just their everyday duties. And that's what these incredible people do. So from a staff side and from the medical side, I will tell you that you can't find better people. And what they've done regarding our stroke center and the work that they've done, when you realize how far they've come and what they've delivered for this community, our staff and those physicians are so incredibly powerful. So you have a great presentation, but more importantly, you have done so much for JPS and our patients, and I can't thank you enough.
And get started. Good afternoon. I'm Trudy Sanders, the Vice President of Patient Services, and we have a big part of our team here today, and I'd like to introduce them. Dr. Huggins, who's one of our co-medical directors, Eileen Brown, who's the Advanced Practice CNS, Lori Spears, Advanced Practice CNS, and Dr. Sneederjohn, Interventional Radiologist, and Dr. Gerstle.
Dr. Cravens is...
Yeah, and Dr. Cravens, one of our other co-medical directors, neurosurgeon. So I'm just pleased that we could get all of these folks here today to come and talk about our program. So we're going to go ahead and start with Eileen with some great news.
Hi, thanks for having us here today. And you gave us money last year, I don't know if you remember, gave us a brand new radiology suite, and we put that to use. And what we've done is we applied to become a comprehensive stroke center. Currently, there are only 17 in Texas, and this designation wasn't available until 2012. So we not only got our lab up and running last October, but we really put everything in place, and we had our survey on August 30th and 31st, and we passed. We had a glowing review, and it looks really, really good on paper, but even more importantly, or the most important thing, is that for our patients, it means that we're going to be able to take care of complex strokes here. We used to have to take them to Harris, and how many brain cells do you lose a minute when you're having a stroke? Yes? 1.9 million. Dr. Jeffrey Saber actually quantified that. So when you're having an acute stroke, it is imperative that we act quickly. And when we had to take patients to Harris, we lost thousands and millions of brain cells. And what it ended up meaning to a patient is maybe their ability to walk, maybe their ability to see, to talk, to interact in their world and with their family. And so now we can do those procedures here with Dr. Gerstle and Dr. Sneederjohn. We have our ER doctors, Dr. Huggins, who leads the team, and we have neurosurgery, Dr. Cravens, and we have everything here that we need for our patients. They don't have to go anywhere else. And it is such a blessing for our patients if they have a good recovery, if they get to us in time. We had a 41-year-old female. We see 30-year-old patients routinely. We see a young population. We had a young man as young as 21 that had an acute stroke. We had a 41-year-old Hispanic female that had a huge stroke. She came to us. She couldn't move one side of her body. She couldn't speak. She couldn't even move her eyes. Her eyes were fixed in one position. We gave her a drug, IV TPA, and 4 days later she was walking and talking and left our hospital. So it means so much to our patients, and we're so thankful. So we did become a comprehensive stroke center, but even more, we are improving patient care every day. And I wish you could see, this is supposed to be the wow slide, so if you can all say wow. I wish you could see our patients, because when they come to us, they are terrified. Something has happened, they've been struck down, and they cannot move, they cannot speak, they cannot talk. And to be able to help them have a good recovery, it is amazing, and it's why we love what we do. And we're so thankful for you for giving us money. We would take a lot more money, so any money that you have that's laying around, please designate it to the stroke program.
Hey, don't do that.
Yeah, he's philanthropic, so.
Thank you for what you do. Forget all that.
About the team effort. It really takes the entire network to make this happen. We've worked on it for over a year, going back and forth, all of the rules and regulations, calling people in. Probably several probably wanted to kill or strangle me if I asked them one more thing about a stroke. So some of the departments are listed on the slide, and it's just many, many more. And also our stroke team has been involved down in Austin in the state, and actually Lori, Eileen, and Dr. Cravens actually authored the recommendations for Texas Emergency Medical System Stroke Triage and Transport, which is a system that's going to govern for the state of Texas regarding stroke care. So we're really proud of that and their accomplishment and all of the hard work that they did on that. I wanted to bring up a piece of paper like they do at the Oscars with everybody I wanted to recognize, but Scott and Robert told me no. So if you want to see it later, it's back at my desk there.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, thank you for having us here. Lee, Marty, and Trudy, thank you so much. Without them, we wouldn't be able to present the numbers I'm going to present on this slide. For the last 4 years, we've grown our stroke program. It's tripled, almost quadrupled, and at the same time, we're taking care of these patients safer and faster. The top line represents the number of patients or acute stroke patients that we've treated with TPA, which is commonly known as the clot busting medicine. So we're taking care of dozens of patients and giving them this drug. Nationally, bleeding with this drug is associated with a bleed rate of about 5%. We're at under 2% for the last 4 years, and that trend will continue this year based on our numbers. Additionally, instead of treating these patients in over an hour, our median and mean times are now hovering around 40 minutes. And so as we move forward and grow and improve our stroke program, we look forward to your continued support, and we do thank you for all of your support thus far.
So where do we want to go next? And again, thank you all for the support you've had of our program and your continued support so that we can reach out to even more patients. But the next step for us is to receive the full state certification. In the state of Texas, you cannot advertise or call yourself a comprehensive or primary stroke center until you have state certification. Although we've been certified by a certifying body, we don't have the state's blessing yet. So hopefully we'll have that within the next few weeks. We're going to continue with our low bleed rates for TPA administration. We're going to continue to give that medication safely and help restore as many brain cells as we can for the patients who are being afflicted with stroke. We definitely want to expand our community outreach not only to patients but also to other stroke centers. As a comprehensive stroke center, one of the things we're tasked with is to help move the whole bar forward. So we want to help others achieve the numbers we've already achieved in the work that we've done here. And we also are already currently a Silver Award member, winner with the American Stroke Heart Association. We want to make that a gold. So that's the second year of meeting all of those metrics. And considering that was the first year back, we obtained Silver Award, and to make that gold on the second year back, that would be fantastic for us. And please don't sell us short because we're a county hospital. We're, as far as we know, going to be one of 2 in the state of Texas at comprehensive. There are very few across the country. And we are now competing head-to-head with places like Baylor Dallas and Harris and UT Southwestern. And our numbers are blowing away a lot of the other, or most of the other hospitals in the Texas average when we look at the database program that Texas hospitals are entering in. Our numbers are blowing all of those numbers for the average in the state of Texas away. So not only are we doing a great job, is we're changing people's lives. And that's our whole goal, is to get to these patients, to get them in quickly, to change their lives, to get them productive in society again, and to help them move forward after having a catastrophic event. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions for the team?
considering that your whole hemisphere is with a clot, right? So literally, we take a catheter from the groin, go all the way up, take what now are stent retrievers, and just retract that and take that clot out of your brain, immediately restoring flow, right? So we've had patients with massive strokes leave here like they're talking about, and walk out of this hospital in 4 or 5 days after having a large stroke. So again, literally life-changing. And if we had an opportunity, I mean, if you want to, just come by later. We'd love to show you some of these cases and what we do and how we do it.
I will say that the stroke center for us is very much a part of our mission, because stroke doesn't affect one on its social economic level. It affects people that come through our front door of all types. So when you think about the mission of JPS and taking care of individuals who need help, this is one more way by which we reach out to folks, particularly when you're a psych ER, where it's really difficult to distinguish whether it's a psych issue that somebody's having or whether it's a stroke somebody's having, when they're clutching a cell phone and they're shaking or they're staring or they're not moving or their speech is impaired in some way. It's really difficult to make that determination when somebody's coming through your front door or brought in by family members or brought in by an emergency ground or air to determine whether it's the situation that it is. Having the comprehensive stroke center, the stroke center that we have is very much part of our mission. And it is a wonderful thing, but it also parallels really well with the level 1 trauma center in saving lives. So I'm incredibly proud of the team, and Dr. Schneerjohn said it best, and that is we could all learn a lot by this, but what a layman like me learns is you get to see people walking out of our health network who would not be in that situation without them and without our stroke center.
Okay. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wait, just a second. Wait.
These folks have done an incredible job. May not sound like a whole lot, but what they're doing is unbelievable. And have a bleed rate of just 2% giving TPA is pretty damn good.
Last year it was 0.
Yeah.
0 so this far this year too.
We kind of
Good job.
we are doing it better than anybody else in the city.
Let me ask you a question in reference to that, because just what you just said, Doctor, we're doing that better than anybody else. Knowing that there are other hospitals in the county that are seeking also to have stroke certified centers, is there any process or group conversation where you're talking to other hospitals so that all are doing it great? Is there any effort in that?
There is effort. We can do it through the Regional Advisory Council across North Texas. So we're members of that. We're very active members. Alina attends those meetings monthly. Through that, there's also a stroke coordinator group. Alina is also a member of that. So we are definitely doing that. The other thing we would like to reach out once we get our designation and can truly advertise that is to reach out to other centers and say, this is how we got these numbers. This is what we're doing, and helping them to duplicate the things that we're doing. I would rather see everyone in the state of Texas at 2% than us blowing everyone away.
Good. I just would, not everybody would be able to get to JPS.
Correct.
And you just would want that everywhere.
Sure.
So,
Well moved.
Dr. Huggins, Lori, and I went to Harris HEB by invitation to share what we've done with our work.
Right.
And they
Right.
reached out to us because they were impressed with our numbers.
right. Thank you so much.
And that just, once again, part of our role is teaching. You don't see it as teaching very much, but that's a critical part of it.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. Thank you all very
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you.
Great job. Thank you.
Next on our agenda is committee reports. First is Finance Committee.
Sir, we met on September 22nd. We received an update on their monthly financials. We also approved several contracts, which are in our consent agenda. If you have questions on the contracts, I can give you those nice general answers, but if you want real answers, Sharon or Scott can probably help you with that.
The boss. The boss. Other than that, I have nothing further to report.
Human Resources.
The Human Resource Committee met on September the 22nd, and we received an update on employee retention. And for the first time, we got a report on physician recruitment. And so that might be something that we need to bring back to the full board, because it was really a good report. And the other thing that we had an update is looking at our succession plan, which I know I will bring that back to us in probably not the next month, but we need to talk about that. Okay. All right. That's it for me.
George, I don't know, I don't recall if we mentioned this, but if not, we'll just repeat it to give maybe just a brief update of the conference that we attended and how impressed hospitals were with our incentive plan.
We were invited to be a panel to participate in a large conference. It was in San Antonio, and we were invited to talk about our incentive plan, especially our long-term incentive plan. And what came out of that, we had over 150 folks attended that session. And what we take is, oh, this is just pretty neat, we're okay. They were really impressed with what we were putting forward and looking at staffing. Nikki was also with us and talked about how that tied into retention. And I have received a couple of calls from folks at that conference saying, we kind of want to know a little bit more information about how y'all got started and how the board got involved in that. Because they thought and said it was an ideal program that we were doing.
Thank you, Dorothy. State board conference that is held annually each year. San Antonio this year for board members.
Great. I think we'll have you go with it.
Next on our agenda is a board action item to consider approval of participating provider agreement between Tarrant County Hospital District and JPS Health Network and WellCare of Texas. Sharon.
Thank you. I'm bringing this to you today. This normally would have come to Finance Committee first, but we were working through the language in this Medicare Advantage contract. And in good faith, we are working towards an effective date of November 1st for this agreement with WellCare. We have had a long-standing agreement with WellCare for this Medicare population, just from an annual standpoint. Last year we had about 225 inpatient admissions, and we had almost 11,000 outpatient encounters. So this is a significant contract for the district. But the old contract is about 6 years old. So I'm requesting approval today for the new Medicare Advantage contract. This contract has been taken into account for next year's budget.
Any questions for Sharon?
Intent of approval.
Been moved by Steve Montgomery, second by Chuck Powell. Chuck Weber.
Don't embarrass anybody.
That hurt.
Yeah, Chuck, don't embarrass you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Same sign. Okay.
I want to thank the board members and particularly Mr. Montgomery. Some of these don't fit timing-wise to our schedule, so it's not our intention to bring them in this manner, but sometimes we have to simply because of the timing of the managed care organizations that we're dealing with. And we have discovered, with no disrespect to any of the managed care, when they present an offer that is one that we like, we want to seize that opportunity. So I thank you, Mr. Committee Chair, and Sharon, thank you, and Kelly for being so swift in dealing with that, because we would have lost out on an opportunity had we not brought it at this time.
Next item is our consent agenda. If there are no questions on the consent agenda, I entertain a motion. It's been moved by Chuck Weber, second by DT Quinn. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passed. Next is report about legal counsel.
We have a considered approval of amendment to the Tarrant County Hospital District bylaws. This is this proposed amendment.
Corey, move that mic just a little bit closer to you.
This proposed amendment would, consistent with Joint Commission standards, would allow the board to delegate reappointments and consideration of renewals and reappointments to a two-member committee on an expedited basis, as long as the medical staff has recommended those for Category 1 expedited approval, which means they generally have no red flags.
To help y'all out and give you just a little bit of an update, what is oftentimes a challenge is very much what I said a minute ago with managed care contracts. On occasion, Dr. Weber remembers this, Dr. Ziegler knows this perfectly well, is schedules will change, times will change downstream, and a meeting will be moved, and all of a sudden it won't conform to the timing of the board. And you will have a certain amount that are already vetted, gone through the process, no red flags, and we can't get them before the board in time. Usually that's not a problem, but occasionally that will happen. We're doing everything we can to not have that happen, but this language is what Joint Commission recommends if you're in this type of a situation. So we wanted to codify this with Joint Commission standards and make sure that if we ever have to invoke it, you all have seen this and understand this, and it's all very transparent with how we do it. This is not something we would ever use on a regular basis. It's just something in those inadvertent times that schedules have come and changed for whatever reasons.
I entertain a motion to approve the proposed amendment.
So moved.
It's been moved by Roger Fisher, second by Chuck Weber. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay. Next, we have another item, but we'll do that after close, right? After close. Okay. Okay.
Robert, would in the case that this was a vote, would the full board be made aware at the subsequent meeting?
Yes, always.
Okay.
Always.
You'll see that in a minute. We're going to show you in a minute.
Okay.
We will now reconvene as executive session pursuant to Chapter 551 of Texas Government Code. We'll reconvene into open session. I have two items. First item is the appointments and reappointments.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to, before we do appointments and reappointments, could we go back and provide a new motion for item number 7A?
Sure.
Just kind of a house cleaning. I hereby move to approve the proposed amendment to the Board of Manager bylaws effective October 4th, 2016, to include language in the proposed new section 5.2.2 regarding delegation of authority for expedited reappointments to membership and renewal of privileges.
Have a second?
Second.
Okay. It's been moved by Mr. Fisher, second by Mr. Petty. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Same sign. Okay. Next item is appointments and reappointments.
Move approval.
Moved by Mr. Moore, second by Mr. Weber, Dr. Weber.
Is that for the appointments?
Yes.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Same sign.
We did that in the first amendment.
The reinstatement took care of that.
Now you just need your second.
Right.
Now we need the motion to, I need a motion to ratify the decision of the board chair and vice chair, October 4th meeting for reappointments. Moved by DT, second by Steve Montgomery. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposes? Okay. Any other items? Well, I want to change something. I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I never do that.
I never do that.
There you go.
Moved and second.
Multiple
Meeting stand adjourned. Okay.
Yeah.